Once upon a time, there was a very young, curious girl named Alice. Alice went for a long walk outside and soon sat down to rest. Alice began to daydream. She imagined a wonderful world where all the animals and flowers could talk. Just then, Alice looked up and saw a white rabbit carrying a pocket watch. "I'm late," said the white rabbit as he ran by. Alice was so curious, she tried to catch up to the rabbit. "Mr. Rabbit, please wait," called Alice. Alice followed the rabbit into a hole in the ground. She began to fall down the long tunnel, but landed just in time to see the rabbit run through a tiny door. Alice was too big to fit through the door. She saw a small bottle that had a label that read, "Drink me." Alice drank the liquid and became small enough to fit through the door. On the other side of the door, she met twins named Tweedledum and Tweedledee. The first thing in a visit is to say, "How do you do?" and shake hands. The twins took Alice's hands and danced around. Alice tried to explain that she was following the white rabbit, but the twins didn't care. They started to tell her a story. Alice wanted to be polite, so she listened to their story, but after they finished their story, they did not give Alice a chance to speak. They just kept on talking to each other. So Alice left. Alice soon spotted the white rabbit in the yard of his cottage. He was worried because he could not find his gloves. "I'm late," he exclaimed to Alice. She offered to help him look around his cottage for his gloves. Alice found a cookie that had a label that read, "Eat me." She ate the cookie and grew into a giant and smashed through the rabbit's cottage. The white rabbit ran to get help to clean up the mess Alice had made. Alice had to get small again, so she picked a carrot from the rabbit's garden. As soon as she ate it, she shrunk to a tiny size. Alice tried to follow the white rabbit again, but could not keep up. After a while, Alice found herself in a magical garden where all the flowers could speak. They asked Alice what kind of flower she was, and before she could explain, the flowers decided she was a weed. They told her to leave their garden. After she walked for some time, Alice came upon a large caterpillar sitting on a mushroom. "Well, who are you?" asked the caterpillar. "I hardly know, sir," answered Alice. The caterpillar told Alice that eating some of the mushroom would help her always be the right size. Alice had a little bit of the mushroom, and soon she was her regular size. She was so happy as she said goodbye to the caterpillar and continued on her way through the forest. She was amazed to see a grinning cat in a tree. He introduced himself as the Cheshire Cat. Alice asked the Cheshire Cat which way she should go to find the white rabbit. He told her to ask the Mad Hatter. "I don't want to meet mad people," said Alice. "Oh, everyone is mad here," replied the Cheshire Cat, and he disappeared. Alice wanted to find the white rabbit, so she continued on to the Mad Hatter's. She was invited to the Mad Hatter's tea party, where it was just nonsense. As she sat having tea with the Mad Hatter and his friends, the white rabbit ran by yelling, "I'm late!" Alice followed the rabbit, but lost sight of him. The Cheshire Cat reappeared and showed Alice a shortcut to a fancy garden. Playing cards were working for the Queen of Hearts, painting roses. The rabbit ran by to announce the Queen of Hearts. Alice was happy to see him, but the Queen became angry and shouted, "Off with her head!" Alice ran away and soon found a door to get away from the Queen of Hearts and her guards. Just then, Alice awoke from her daydream. She realized she had just had a magical daydream and was happy to be awake from all the nonsense. That was just fine with Alice. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a lovely princess was born. The king and queen named their daughter Aurora. They invited everyone in the kingdom to the palace to celebrate her birth. Everyone except for the evil fairy Maleficent. The wicked fairy was so mad about not being invited that she snuck in anyway, in a flash of lightning, and she put a curse on beautiful Princess Aurora. Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she will prick her finger on a spinning wheel and die. Then, Maleficent, in a flash of thunder, disappeared. Luckily, 3 good fairies were at the party, and they softened the curse with a prophecy that said, "If this will happen, you will only sleep, not die. Your sleep will be ended when your true love gives you a kiss." The 3 fairies disguised themselves as peasant women and agreed to raise Aurora in the woods to keep her identity a secret until the night of her 16th birthday. The years passed and Princess Aurora grew into a lovely girl. She only knew the 3 women as her aunts, not as fairies, and they called her Briar Rose. The evil fairy Maleficent was always looking for her, but never could find her. Briar Rose always dreamed of meeting a handsome young man and falling in love. Then, on the day of her 16th birthday, a prince was riding through the woods. The prince heard Briar Rose singing. He asked her to dance, and before they knew it, they had fallen in love. Briar Rose had no idea he was a prince from a nearby kingdom, and the prince had no idea that she was really a princess. The 3 aunts were busy baking Briar Rose's 16th birthday cake. Briar Rose returned to the cottage and told her aunts about the stranger she had met and danced with. The aunts told Briar Rose her real name was Princess Aurora, and she would be returning to the castle that evening. The 3 fairies brought Princess Aurora home to her eagerly awaiting family. Everyone thought the princess had escaped Maleficent's evil curse. But no one knew Maleficent was hiding upstairs. As soon as Maleficent saw Aurora alone, she put her in a trance and led her into a room with a gleaming spinning wheel. "Touch the spindle, touch it," said Maleficent. Princess Aurora obeyed. She pricked her finger and fell to the floor. The 3 fairies found the sleeping princess and were heartbroken. They must now find the handsome stranger the princess had met in the woods. The fairies found the prince, and when he heard the news, he raced towards Princess Aurora's castle. Maleficent was waiting to stop the prince, but she was no match for the prince, and he made his way to the peaceful, beautiful, sleeping Princess Aurora. He knelt by her side and gently kissed her. Slowly, Princess Aurora opened her eyes. She smiled when she saw the face of the handsome stranger from the forest. He was her true love. Aurora sat up and took his hand. The prince asked Aurora to be his bride. "Yes, of course," replied Princess Aurora. They would live in his grand castle, close to her parents and her fairy aunts. Princess Aurora and the prince lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, there was a lovely princess named Snow White. She lived in a castle with her stepmother, a beautiful but wicked queen. The queen was very jealous of Snow White and forced her to work as a servant. Every day the wicked queen looked into her magic mirror and asked, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" The mirror usually answered that the queen was the fairest, which pleased her. Meanwhile, Snow White did her chores and made friends with the courtyard doves. One day, a prince heard Snow White singing. He was enchanted by her. The queen saw this and became angry. Then the magic mirror told her that Snow White was the fairest one in the land. The queen was furious. She ordered her huntsman to take Snow White to the forest and do away with her. Snow White was so kind and gentle, the huntsman could not harm her. Instead, he warned Snow White of the wicked queen's plan. He told her to run away. Snow White ran deep into the dark forest, alone and scared. She fell down and began to cry. The woodland animals heard her and came out to comfort her. They told her everything will be all right, and they showed her to a tiny cottage. There were 7 beds in the cottage, with 7 names on them: Doc, Happy, Sneezy, Dopey, Grumpy, Bashful, and Sleepy. Snow White thought to herself, what funny names for children, and laid down on a bed and fell asleep. In the meantime, 7 dwarves were on their way home from a long day at work. When they got home to their cottage, they found Snow White asleep in one of their beds. "Why, it's a girl!" they all said. Snow White woke up and said, "How do you do?" She told them her story of the wicked queen. The dwarf said she could stay with them. Back at the castle, the queen did not know Snow White was still alive when she asked the magic mirror, "Who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror answered, "Snow White is the fairest of them all." The wicked queen was angry. "I will find her and poison her." The wicked queen disguised herself as an old woman and headed to the 7 dwarfs' cottage. It was morning and the dwarfs left to go to work, while Snow White was working in the garden. Working away, she saw the old woman, who was really the wicked queen. Snow White said, "Hello," and the old woman offered her an apple from her basket, the poison apple that would put Snow White to sleep forever unless she was kissed by a prince. That was the only way to break the poisonous spell. Snow White accepted the apple and took a bite. She fell to the ground and the old woman ran away. The woodland creatures went to get the dwarfs. The dwarfs could not awaken Snow White, so they built her a glass coffin so they could keep watch over her forever. One day, the prince was riding on his horse through the forest and came upon Snow White in her glass coffin. It was her who he saw singing at the Wicked Queen's castle. He knelt down and kissed Snow White. She awoke, and the spell was broken. The dwarfs were so happy. Snow White was awake. Snow White thanked the dwarfs for all their help and said they would be best friends forever. The prince asked Snow White to come and live in his castle. Snow White rode off with her prince, and they lived happily ever after. Simba the lion carried a heavy burden for such a young lion, as he thought he was responsible for the death of his father. His meerkat, warthog, and other animal friends wanted to help Simba laugh again. "You must put the past behind you," they all told him. "Hakuna Matata." Hakuna Matata means no worries, they told Simba. Soon Simba felt much better as he joined his animal friends. Swimming in the river and enjoying nice long days. As long as Simba did not think about his father's death and the painful memory of his Uncle Scar, telling Simba that he was responsible for his father's death. Scar had told Simba to run away. Simba felt like he was always running away. One day, while playing, a beautiful lioness chased Simba's friend the warthog. She wanted to eat him. The warthog was very scared. Simba saved his warthog friend and then realized the lioness was his old best friend from childhood, Nala. Simba had run away from his Pride Land so long ago. Nala and all the lions and all the other animals missed him very much, and she told them they needed Simba to save them from Scar and the hyenas. They were destroying the Pride Lands. "Please come home," asked Nala. "You are our only hope." Simba was not yet ready to return, and he sat and talked to Nala all night, and they kissed and had a private embrace. "You can't change the past. It's all my fault," said Simba as he walked away from Nala. Close by, a wise baboon called out to Simba. "You're Mufasa's son," he reminded Simba. "He lives in you," said the old baboon, and he reminded Simba of that. The baboon led Simba to a pool of water and told him to stare hard at his reflection. Suddenly, the clouds parted and the water changed shape, and Simba saw his father, Mufasa. "Remember who you are," Mufasa said from the stars. "You are my son and the one true king." Simba was afraid of what he knew he must do. The baboon all of a sudden hit Simba with a stick. "Why did you do that? It hurt," asked Simba. "Doesn't matter. It's in the past," said the baboon as he tried to hit Simba again. Simba ducked, avoiding the hit. "See," said the baboon, "the past can hurt, but you can either learn from it or run away." Simba understood this lesson and decided to return to his father's land, to save it from the hyenas and challenge his Uncle Scar. "I must fight for this, or who will?" "We will," answered Nala, the warthog, baboon, and meerkat. "We are with you until the end." They followed Simba to the Pride Lands and fought a big battle with the hyenas. Simba fought his evil Uncle Scar. Scar admitted, "I killed your father, Mufasa." When Simba heard this, a great anger surged through him. Anger for the death of his father. Anger for years of guilt. Anger for the destruction of his home, the Pride Lands. With a great roar, Simba flipped his uncle over the rock. Scar was defeated. Simba roared and finally claimed his rightful place as king. Nala was waiting for him and told all the animals that Simba was now king of the land. As news of Simba's return spread across the vast land, all of the animals once again roamed free. The land began to heal, and Simba and Nala ruled as king and queen. Simba and Nala started their own family and lived happily ever after.